This is your ultimate guide on Sorare NBA for the All-Star weekend. Let's get into it. So then, as you can see, it's completely different to the normal run-of-the-mill sort of things that we'd have here on a week-to-week basis or a bi-weekly basis that we'd have on Sorare. For the All-Star weekend, obviously they had to change things up. So we've got a common All-Star Saturday night, an All-Star game offense, All-Star Saturday night, and then a limited rare, super rare, and unique All-Star game offense. I'm going to run through all of these and just make sure that you understand absolutely everything that you need to know. Okay then, so one of the new ones for this current game week is the common All-Star Saturday night. Just to clear up any confusion, because even when you read it and you go in to build a lineup, it isn't the most user intuitive sort of system and how they've done this. It's still, again, first time they're ever doing it, they're still learning. So the common All-Star Saturday night screen is only for the skills challenge, the dunk contest, and the three-point contest. It isn't for the All-Star game itself. A player will score 50 points for each event where they win the prize. So if they're a part of the team that wins the skills challenge, if they win the dunk contest, or if they win the three-point contest, then they'll get 50 points. If they come second, if they come second, they get 30 points. And for everyone that they participate, they get 10. So even if you pick 5 guys that you don't think are going to win, you'll still come out of it with 50 points. Whether or not that's something that you'll probably end up winning a score with in the common side is to be seen. I highly doubt it. And then the common All-Star game for the offensive side is essentially like a no cap, no MVP common tournament that you'd have in any normal NBA Sorare weekend, but it's only for the All-Star game. And as we know, All-Star games in the past are really hard to predict in terms of where scoring is going to come from. Depends on what type of guys really want to try in these, what want to sort of take it back and sort of enjoy the weekend a bit more. So you're going to want to try and find the edge for the players that are going to be really, really competitive. And as I said, it's really hard to call on All-Star weekend. The top 1,000 will get paid limiteds for this, and as we stand, there's 40,000 in there, so it's going to be quite difficult. This is where having collated cards across the time with your commons and training them to get those small minute percentage XP bonuses will actually come into big effect right now. So I'll quickly run you through the 2 lineups that I've picked for these so far. So when building your lineups, you just want to make sure that you've got guys that are competing in some of these tournaments. So, for example, for the skills challenge, you've got Team Antetokounmpo, Team Jazz, and Team Rookie. Now, Colin Sexton, I believe, is injured. I'm not sure if he's injured enough that he's out of the skills challenge or not, but that remains to be seen. But for now, you'd want to pick one of these guys, or potentially even 3 of these guys that are on all of these. That's the optimal strategy, is what I will say, is that when you're going through these here and you're picking 5 guys in these All-Star nights, if you pick 3 of them from the skills challenge that you think are the team that's going to win, so whether it be Team Antetokounmpo, Team Jazz, or Team Rookie, if you pick those 3, that leaves 2 spots left, and then you'd have one for the dunk contest and one for the three-point contest of who you think will win those challenges. Unfortunately, I don't have 3 of those cards in the common set, despite having, I think, 90 common cards, and I used my card swaps all throughout the week, and I couldn't get them. I couldn't hit. I did pick up a few, like I did manage to scoop up a Kenyon Martin Jr. So Kenyon Martin Jr. is in the dunk contest, Paolo Banchero is in the skills contest as Team Rookie, and I think Team Rookie will win, but I don't have a Jabari Smith or a Jaden Ivey as well. So I'm going to run with him. And now you're probably looking at them going, why am I playing the guys that are in the All-Star game in the skills competition? And that's purely because I've got loads of guys that are playing in the All-Star game. I don't need to play these in that. But these guys also play in the three-point or the dunk contest or the skills challenge. So I'll have these 3 here of Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Damian Lillard, because they also play in all of the other competitions. And then for the All-Star game offensive lineup, there is only offensive stats that are tracked. So let me show you. So as well, you can always see this. Click on info, details, and it will show you the eligible scoring categories for it. So as you can see, there's no steals, no blocks, none of that. It's purely on a scoring metric. So for example, players like Drew Holiday and Jaren Jackson Jr. that are really good in the base game, for these, they lose some of their edge on this. So you want pure offensive players. And that's sort of what I've gone for with this. LeBron always tries hard on All-Star weekend. He always wants to do really well as a team captain. So same with Giannis. All the guys will say they really want to do well. And then I won't say they take it easy. Others take it more seriously than others is essentially it. Ja Morant, offensive guy. Luka Doncic, offensive guy. Anthony Edwards has got some steals and blocks in his game, but primarily offensive guy. And then, yeah, I mean, Jokic and LeBron speak for themselves. There is scope to play Embiid, but I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards over him. I think Donovan Mitchell, if you have a common card of him, would be a really, really solid option this week. And the same thing with Tyrese Halliburton. I think he'll be a really solid option. And don't worry, the giveaway is still going to be happening as normal on this channel. In the common all-star game for the offensive side, if we do win a limited card, I'll be giving it away. So make sure you leave your Sorare handle in the comments down below. You've liked the video and you sub to the channel. So then for the limited all-star game in offensive mode, it's the same as the commons. It's only the offensive stats that are being tracked, primarily because in all-star weekend no one plays defense anyway. This isn't going to be a really in-depth pick of my limited team. Primarily I had 5 guys that were playing here, so I'm going to pick the 5 that I've got as limited cards. Right now the market is in a really weird place on Sorare NBA, and the cards that are being used throughout all-star weekend, whether that be in the all-star game or any of the special contests, they've spiked in value, whereas the rest of the market is sort of falling to the mean, and these cards are being subject to it. I think they'll come straight back down primarily after All-Star Weekend, depending on their L10s and how their next few games look, and if they've got triples and doubles and so on. But yeah, these are the 5 guys that I had that were limited in, and I even traded for a Kyrie recently. These are the 5 guys that I've got in my limited collection, so I'm going to play these 5 guys. There's probably optimal picks, like if you've got your Lukas, I know Giannis has got a slight wrist injury. You got your LeBrons. I'd also play them. Like I said, I think Donovan Mitchell's a really, really solid option, and Tyrese Halliburton. But I'm not going to go out of my way and overpay for them for just this one game week. I'd rather just use the gallery that I've got. There's even an optimal point here where this would be potentially a good time to sell, and I'm going to talk on that a little bit later. But yeah, Joel Embiid, Kyrie Irving, Ja Morant, De'Aaron Fox, Paul George. They'll all play in the All-Star game. Fingers crossed none of them get injured. And we'll see what happens. Like I said, with All-Star game, it's really hard to predict. You just sort of go on a whim. The fact that I don't have any of the main guys, and if you don't have any of the main guys, can be sort of different play at this in terms of you're going against the main guys. You're going to have the differential picks. So there is scope for you to do well if they do well, but obviously that's the risk you have to take. Now, for the rare lineup, I do have an Anthony Edwards, I do have a Jaren Jackson Jr., and I do have a Jaylen Brown. Even though it says he's inactive, it's because he's not played any of the last few games. He's traveled to Utah. He has his cheek contusion, is I believe what the technical term for the injury is called. And he's not a doubt, I'd say, but obviously he's not played any games before, and then he's not played any games obviously with this injury, and then he's going to go straight into the All-Star game. So no one really knows just quite yet. It's not been 100% confirmed he's going to play, but it's not been 100% that he's ruled out. So there are 2 guys that I do actually want to pick up in the rare side of things. I have been eyeing up getting a Paul George rare now for quite some time, and also a Drew Holiday. Now, Drew Holiday isn't exactly a great card for this pick, but if I can get these trades done, maybe add some ETH into the situation for it, then I would look to put this lineup together. But I'm going to wait first to see if I hear if Jaylen Brown is fit. Because if Jaylen Brown doesn't play, then I'm not really going to worry about this. And then as such, I won't be going out and slightly overpaying the premiums on Paul George and Drew Holiday, or Bam Adebayo is someone else that I've been looking at. I'm not going to be getting a Giannis or LeBron rare just for these games, but if I can get those 2 guys on reasonable trades for me to play them in this, then I will take it. And that's also my advice to you. I wouldn't be going out and overpaying for cards to play them in these sort of rare or limited All-Star game offenses. If you've got them and you've got 5 that you want to throw in and chance your luck, do it. But there is scope, like I've mentioned, for selling. And let's touch on that now. Now, obviously, I'm not in the super rare and unique side of things. That's a whole different kettle of fish. Like, for example, right now there's 77 people in for 25 prizes. They're pretty good odds if you're playing super rare. But for All-Star Saturday night, which is the essentially paid version of the common one, this tournament here allows for limited rares, super rares, and uniques. Now, the majority of guys that have got super rares and uniques will have the budget to play with super rare All-Star and unique All-Star anyway. But this is for the skills challenge, the dunk contest, and the 3-point contest. Now, as you can see from the prize pool, it pays for the top 1,500, and right now there's 3,000. That will probably go up to, in my guess, with 1 day, 13 hours after I'm recording this, probably 7,000 is my guess, because people will set their lineups really, really late. Could be lower than that, but my guess would be in and around the 7,000 mark. Now, as mentioned before, this is only for the Saturday night, so the skills challenge, the dunk contest, the 3-point. The prizes for it, tier 5 and tier 4 limiteds, which at max you'd maybe get 8 to 10 pounds from these. For a top 200, if you finish 202nd, you'd get a tier 4 limited. Tier 5 rare, again, that's potentially 10 to 15. Tier 4, 20 to 30 maybe. Tier 3, you're looking at sort of 40 to 80. Tier 2, depending on the tier 2 you get, of course, could be anywhere from 60 to 180. And then you're in the super res. If you think you've got a strong, and you strongly believe that you've got the 5 guys that are, your 3 guys that are going to win in the skills, the dunk and the 3-point contest, by all means go for it. But when I look at building my one here, ignoring the guys that are playing in the actual game itself, which is Jaylen Brown, Anthony Edwards, and Jaren Jackson Jr., I've got a Jaden Ivey who's playing in the skills challenge. I've got a Kevin Herter who's in the 3-point contest, and I've got a Jericho Sims, which I won as a limited reward last week. Not the current game week, last week. So that would mean I'd have to go out of my way and buy 2 guys. Now, in my optimal setting of where I think you need to try and win the competitions, I've got a 3-point guy already in Kevin Herr, who personally I actually do think has got a really good chance of winning it. I think he's the underdog. No one's really talking about him. He's a great shooter anyway. I got Jericho Sims in the dunk contest. I don't think he's going to win the dunk contest. I think Kenyon Martin Jr. is going to win the dunk contest. And then I've got Jaden Ivey in the skills challenge. So in doing my optimal and practicing what I'm preaching in this sense, I should go out and buy a Jabari Smith Jr. and a Paolo Banchero. I don't want to go out and spend the however much. Do you know what? Let's look. So if we go over to Sorare Data, if we go to Banchero, and I'd pick up his rare card for this because I wouldn't want to buy a limited because limiteds are really inflated right now. The last sales on a Paolo Banchero, I'd have to get, there's a 264 on an offer, but he's been going for the 200 mark. And this is what I mean about them slightly going up in price for this. They're in the 170s and he's at 264. There's no auctions, I believe. We will just check. No auctions. So right now you're paying a pretty hefty premium. And obviously that's fair because you're trying to get involved in these competitions. You've not done it beforehand. You could have prepped for this months ago. Even though you didn't know the slate of Sorare games they were going to do, you could have prepped for it months ago. I'm personally quite shocked that there isn't anything for the Rising Stars game. I thought they would have done something for that. But again, this is the first year they're doing it. It's good that there's something and not nothing. But yeah, we've got a Paolo Banchero at that price, and then a Jabari Smith Jr. You're looking at what? 100 probably, if that's his price there. Yeah, in and around the 100 mark. And as you can see prior, he's in the 70s mark, in the 80s. So they're at 25% on a Jabari Smith Jr. and you're looking at sort of 35 to 40% on a Paolo Banchero. That type of premium to play them in this game mode here, where as you can see, you can enter up to limited rares, super rares, and uniques. Sorry, I'm not showing this screen. Here we go. So you've got limited rares, super rares, and uniques. Obviously, the limiteds will have the lowest percentage bonus, then rares, then super rares, and uniques. If you've got guys that are playing these big galleries that have got the super rares and the uniques, and they've got the same player as you, you're done anyway. So, look, if you've got them, I'd play them, but definitely I would not recommend going out and buying these on the secondary market to try and play them in All-Star Saturday night. I do like the look of the All-Star game for the limited and the rare side. And like I mentioned, if Jaylen Brown's declared fit, I will be going out and probably trying to trade for like a Paul George, a Bam Adebayo, a Drew Holiday, the likes of that, Lauri Markkanen potentially as well. But if not, I wouldn't recommend stressing about it. So for the time being, yeah, these are my lineups for it. It's a smaller stack. It's not the 9 lineups that we normally have, but I mean, it's All-Star weekend. It's take a break. Don't worry about it too much. Just see what happens. Watch the game like everyone will. And also the main one, don't forget to do your training. Even though it's All-Star weekend, never forget the training. So that's that. I hope you found this helpful. If you do have any questions, throw them in the comments down below and I'll get to them as quickly as I can. Make sure you comment your Sorare handle as well, like the video, and make sure you're subbed here to the Swingman Podcast YouTube channel to get involved in the potential giveaway. Enjoy All-Star weekend and we'll get back to it with the normal slate of competitions when the NBA picks up after it. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.